All right, what is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Batter's Eye. Before we introduce our guest, just going to say Max can't make it for this episode. Had to work last minute. Things happen. He'll be back on the next episode. But he's just he says what's up, I guess. But now let's introduce our guest. I'll start with a little resume before I'll let you say your name. But third team All American last year, Maryland pitcher. You're a junior this year. And recently, you were just announced as a preseason first team All American. And with that, without further ado, why don't you introduce yourself? Because you could do it a little better than I do.
Hi, I'm Jason Savacool. I'm from Central New York, originally from Baldensville, but I go to the University of Maryland. I'm a pitcher here, junior, so potentially my last year here, and yeah, excited to have a nice conversation.
Yeah, I mean, let's get started with like coming into Maryland. I mean, I watch a lot of college baseball. I watch a lot of Big Ten baseball too. For football, I can't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm an Ohio State guy, so not. But I don't have a favorite college baseball team, and I watch everyone. Saw you a little bit of freshman year, and I saw your stats, and I was like, okay, like I didn't know who you were, and I didn't think I was gonna know who you were. And I'm not trying to be, and people are gonna be like, oh, you're so rude. No, because came in sophomore year and you had a breakout year, 2.9 ERA. You pitched 40 more innings and you gave up one more walk, two more hits, and only three more home runs. I mean, what changed going into your sophomore season from your freshman season? Was it something mechanical or what was it that allowed you to take that jump?
Yeah, it was definitely the weight for me. I was pretty underweight. I was like 185, 190 pounds about my freshman year. And then took a huge step forward, got to college, learned a lot more about strength and nutrition and everything like that, and pushed myself to about 210 pounds. And then, this year I made another jump to about 220. So just kind of pushing that weight and strength forward was huge for me just to develop the consistency. Um, I would just, especially late in the season, I was breaking down a little bit. Had some bad outings late in the year because I was just tired, frankly. Didn't have enough weight on my body, enough strength to make it through the year. And then yeah, last summer, stayed here at the University of Maryland all summer. Just me and my strength trainer, and we went to work. So
Yeah. And did you see like a velo increase with that and what happened with that? Like that's a huge year too. Freshman year is growing pains, and a lot of guys will say that too. And
yeah.
going into college is probably one of the hardest transitions anybody will make, whether you're an athlete or not. For an athlete, it's just 10 times harder because you're
Mhm.
balancing, especially at such a prestigious school like Maryland, you're balancing playing a Big Ten sport, which is like a full-time job, and then you're also doing your work and all that.
Yep.
What else happened? What did you and what I mean, I guess changes that like you see on the baseball field. Obviously the weight is big, but something that maybe more like, that the guys watching will understand.
Yeah, for sure. I was able to just clean up some things mechanically, clean up my back leg a little bit, just to be a little bit more stable, a little bit more heel contact with the ground, getting some more power from the ground. That caused, between the weight and fixing some things with my mechanics, caused a little bit of a velo jump. I was like a 89, 92 kind of guy, and then kind of jumped last year to 91, 94. Hoping to continue to progress that forward, obviously. Um, but yeah, made a little bit of velo jump. Also, just improved my stuff a lot overall. Um, I throw a lot of pitches. I throw a two seam, four seam, curveball, slider, and a splitter. So, had a lot of stuff that I was working on that was just, continually getting better and better. And last year, a lot of those pitches, especially my curveball and my two seam, really took a step forward. I was at a point where I was throwing majority two seams for my fastball over the four seam, but my freshman year, I hadn't really figured out exactly, what that movement profile was going to be and everything like that. But I've kind of just, taken some huge steps forward, used some technology. Rapsodo has been huge for me,
Mhm.
just to, keep developing those things, develop that stuff. And just being able to have the weight on allows me to do all that stuff at a consistent level. So, Just kind of all of those things culminated as a perfect storm, and allowed me to have a pretty good year last year.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I have a question that a lot of people have like asked me to ask the next college guy we have on because it's something that a lot of guys in our audience specifically are probably looking to go play college baseball or even just be in college and be involved with sports. What is your typical day in the life as a Maryland baseball player like? You don't have to be
Yeah.
super detailed, but
No, yeah. So usually we'll lift in the morning sometime. So, probably sometime, whatever before your classes, get a lift in. You have your class throughout the morning, kind of have to be wrapped up by around 1 p.m. or so. And then you're basically out to the baseball field from 2 o'clock to 5, 6, depending on the day. You're going to have some individual work where you're working in small groups or one-on-one with coaches and stuff like that early on in the practice, and then you kind of develop into your team practice phase. So that's kind of split up half and half. But you're pretty much out there for 3, 4 hours, and tag that on with a lift or whatever recovery, treatment you got to do. You're probably spending a good about 6 hours, I'd say, around athletics. So, like you alluded to, it is a full-time job. Absolutely.
yeah,
So you're doing that every day for the whole week, basically get one day off. But on that one day off, you're still coming in, you're getting you're throwing in, you're getting treatment done, things like that. So, it is definitely a grind, but you kind of have to love it. Absolutely, which thankfully I do. So, it
yeah.
helps me grind through
Now,
it.
does that change at all when the season's in session? Like, what does it change? What does it look like more when the season's in session if it changes?
Yeah, practices will get lighter in the season usually. So we'll have less practice time. Just try to get some really intense work for, about an hour or two instead of, 3 or 4. So we just really get some really good focused work in each day, try to keep it lighter on the bodies. Because in college baseball you play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then you also play Tuesday, and you might even play Wednesday that week as well. So you can play 4 to 5 games a week every week. So a lot more lighter on the workloads. For us, we go through the weekend. We have Monday off, and then Tuesday game, and then Wednesday and Thursday practice, and then back playing on Friday. So don't get as much practice time, obviously, but the practices that we do have are just super focused and intense for an hour or two, and then cut it there, get the workload right.
Yeah, and I mean that makes a lot of sense too, as especially as the season goes on. I mean, you guys play a lot of games, like some, especially if you guys are making it far into these tournaments, it's like 60 to 65 games a season.
Hmm.
Some schools with the scheduling, sometimes schools are playing like 70 games, 75 games a season if they're getting Tuesday and Wednesday games every week.
Yeah.
Especially some of like the more like the Tennessees, the Vanderbilts, like those nationally televised games of the schools that they're bringing in more money off of baseball, like Maryland too. You guys had I think you guys had a couple Wednesday games last year that I was watching on ESPN Plus, like
Yep.
all this stuff, and it's crazy. The scheduling for college baseball is by far the most intense scheduling for any sport.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I think people have to start to understand that a little more.
Yeah, no, I mean you look at like college basketball or something like that, they're playing probably 2 games a week. For the most part. They might play on a Wednesday and they might play on Saturday or Sunday. That's
Mm-hmm.
probably about it. Or they play like Monday and a Friday. But
Yeah,
they're getting a lot of time in between their games for the most part. Obviously, sometimes with scheduling in college basketball, there's like, back to back every once in a while or something like that. But we're playing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, maybe even Wednesday too.
yeah,
It's definitely a grind. It's definitely a challenge. Especially because our season's in a much, tighter window than say professional baseball. Obviously, professional baseball plays a lot more games, play every day for the most part, but we have a pretty tight window to play, 55 games of the regular season and then whatever you play in the playoffs. So yeah,
yeah,
there's definitely a lot going on.
yeah. It's ridiculous. I mean, baseball. The MLB has from March till end of September, pretty much. You have like
Mhm.
that span of like 6 months to get in 160 games. You have 2 months to get in 60.
Yeah.
But at this point, I think you got to learn and grow to love it. Which, from everything that I hear from all these college athletes, I mean, and guys watching know, like, I Brendan's my friend Brendan Summerhill. He was my first ever baseball guest, and to this day, I'm very close with Brendan. And he's
Mhm.
at Arizona. He's a freshman this year, and he
Gotcha.
tells me, he goes, I love it. It's like,
Yeah.
you gotta love it. If you don't love it, you're not right for it's not right for the game. And
Yeah.
I've begun to notice that consistency between a lot of the guys that I've had on, especially, you're confirming it. Some of the other guys that I'm scheduled to have on, I can't really say anything about that yet. It's a surprise, but a lot of them like it. I talk to them too before and after the episodes, and it stays consistent. That's one thing that a lot of people will like about it. The scheduling
Mhm.
is tough, but it's so worth it. The
Yeah.
development is insane.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially here, we've done a really, really good job, especially with our hitters. Done a really good job developing. We got some cool stuff going on here. Some stuff that can't necessarily talk about because there's some patents and a book coming out and things like that. So, some things that'll change baseball. I think so. We've really taken a leap forward, our coaching staff. And that's what's made us so good, to be completely honest, is we've bought into all this new stuff that major league teams are coming at some of our coaches to ask for this information. So we've really taken a big step forward in that regard. It really excites me for the future of this program too. I don't know if our facilities really haven't been the best over the past couple of years compared to a lot of different schools that are at similar caliber that we've been the past 2 years. But we're just continuing to get improvements in that area as we continue to win, and our coaching staff does an incredible job pushing for that stuff. And yeah, it's been awesome, especially here. The development has been really crazy.
That's interesting because my next question for you was going to be, like, what would you give if you had to give a recruiting pitch for Maryland? What would your recruiting pitch be? You can take as much time as you need. Let's hear it, because I got some kids. I got some kids in my school that possibly, well, maybe one possibly could end up pitching D1.
Yeah.
Could get. I know a couple kids watching this. I got a couple messages. Some kids asking me where I feel people.
Mhm.
Where I feel I should go. I have no knowledge, so
Yeah,
I'm leaving
no.
it up to you.
Yeah, no. I would really say the people here is the big difference maker. The coaching staff, the team itself. It's just a lot of guys who want to work hard, especially the coaching staff, really young coaching staff, a lot of energy. Just everything that we do is super, super focused, super intense with the objective of getting better. I think if you want to develop as a player, Maryland's a great place to do it. The facilities are taking a huge leap forward in the next couple of years here. We're building a whole new facility behind the field, hitting and pitching lab facility. We just switched into a lot better weight room this past year. Pretty expansive. Used to be the football weight room, so a lot of cool stuff. We also have access to our huge, $1 million football facility for certain things as well. And there's just a lot of new stuff coming, a lot of culture being cultivated around here, and I think that's huge for a baseball program. I think that's why we've been able to make regionals this past 2 years and host one last year. It's just the culture around this coaching staff and this program has been just really elevated to the next level, and we just have guys consistently taking steps forward every year. If you look at our guys' stats as they go from freshman year on, you'll never see a guy that takes a step back. It's kind of crazy. You'll see a complete improvement in stats every single year. For example, like our catcher Luke Schliger, um, his freshman year here, did pretty well behind the plate, hit about 200 or so. But last year took a step into a more full-time role in the lineup, ended up hitting one for us, stole a bunch of bags as a catcher, had a great catching season, hit 12 to 15 home runs and had an on-base percentage of nearly 500. Like, guys just consistently take the step up to the next level here because they develop. And that's what I would say is our recruiting pitch here, is that the people are gonna, keep pushing you forward.
So yeah, I mean, that's a good recruiting pitch. I'm beginning to get convinced. I'm trying to find. I think Is it one? Yeah. Yeah. Luke. Is that your cat, Luke?
Yeah, yep, Luke
Yeah.
Schlegel.
He's coming on soon.
Oh, cool, very
I
cool,
he just got back to me the other day actually. So
cool, very
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
I knew you were saying like catcher and it clicked that I had to look for it. I had him in here. It's
Yeah.
it's deep in my messages somewhere now. I've gotten like response. I've started to get responses back from the weekend. Yeah, people don't understand. I mean, I probably message like 400 guys a weekend. I'm like, hey, uh, you guys want to come on? It's like maybe 8 or 9 respond. Yeah, sure. One or two are like, no, I'm good. All right, on to the next batch. Trying to get 2 videos every week, guys.
Yeah, yeah,
Consistency is key. But so now I'm gonna go into my last question before rapid fire, everyone's favorite segment.
all right.
My last question before rapid fire is what is your throwing and lifting routine?
Yeah, I have a pretty aggressive throwing routine. And I like the long toss 2 or 3 times a week. I know that's a huge hot topic, long toss, how much do you long toss? So I like to add that in there. Um, for me, 2 of those long toss days are, normal long toss days, and then, the other one is going to be really, really aggressive, like try to throw the ball over the fence, kind of thing, kind of try to go pull to pull. Um, it's been pretty cool seeing my progression as I've gotten more and more into long toss, as I've, kind of gotten out of high school and learned more and more about throwing programs and throwing routines. Um, right now I can almost throw the ball pull to pull, which is, at our field, that's probably about 420 feet or so. So, really getting some good distance, strengthening the arm that way. And then, I'll mix in some light days in between. Um, Usually I'll throw a bullpen either 2 days or one day before I pitch. Um, I like to kind of keep it pretty simple. I know what I'm doing when I come to the field that day. Pretty much stays the same for the most part, week to week. And I think that's a huge part of routines, is like making sure that you have it kind of written out to yourself and you know exactly what you're going to do before you go to the field every day. And then obviously you can modify as you feel your body, you feel your arm, not feeling that well on this day or feeling, a little bit better on this day. So I just think it's huge to have that routine, especially throwing wise. I think that's been a huge key for me is nailing that down. That just kind of kept my arm strength up and kept me healthy,
Yeah.
especially because, college season is a lot longer than high school season. I threw
Mm.
107 innings in the college season last year. So, to be able to remain healthy through that is definitely a challenge, but the throwing is a huge, huge piece of that.
Yeah.
Strength wise, we lift 3 times a week. We have like mobility slash speed work 2 times a week as well. So usually how it'll work, right now in this off season period, we'll lift on Monday. We'll have speed and mobility on Tuesday, Wednesday lift, Thursday speed and mobility, Friday lift, and then we'll get Saturday and Sunday off for the most part, unless we want to come in and do a recovery circuit or something like that. So it's pretty rigorous, especially right now, as we can kind of load our bodies up a little bit more as we're just starting up practice, and practice is pretty light. So that'll kind of take a little bit of a scale back, and we'll start doing some more of that mobility and speed work at practice. Obviously running in practice with what you do on the baseball field will become incorporated into all that workload. But I'd say the biggest thing with those 2 things, the strength and the throwing, is just managing what you do and how your body feels is the biggest thing. It's really good to have a routine and stick to it, but you kind of got to know when to pull back and when to push forward.
Yeah.
I think that's the huge part that people kind of miss is, they'll have this routine laid down on paper and that says throw 120 feet this day and 180 feet the next day, and they'll throw 120 feet and then they'll throw the next day and they feel like crap and they still throw 180 feet. It's like, all right, we can scale that back. Maybe we go 150, 120, or we scale back the intensity a little bit
Yeah.
and just, let your body recover a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that's a huge piece of it. You can have the best throwing routine and strength routine in the world, but if you're not able to modify it to how you're feeling, then it's going to be kind of tough to navigate.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I see that a lot, and not even just on a pro. I mean, you see it on a pro level, but less and less as the
Hmm.
trainers and everything gets better.
Yeah.
Not to say that, college trainers are some of the best as well, but
Hmm.
guys like LeBron James who spend millions of dollars on their trainers and their bodies,
Yeah.
you look at that and you're like, I want to be like him. Yeah, it's very, very, very hard to perfect
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
So I completely get what you're saying because not to say that I haven't like said once in my life, oh, I want to look like this guy or whatever.
Hmm.
Everybody's done it. Everybody's
Yeah.
a victim. Everyone's guilty of it. But
Yeah.
you know, there's times where you got to manage yourself and see how you feel, which I like because I've been saying that for so long, and I've been trying to kind of push that across a lot of guys that
Yeah.
push
Yeah.
through things.
Hmm.
So now let's get into everybody's favorite segment, rapid fire. So
Cool.
kind of come up with my own questions, kind of use questions that I've already used, kind of use questions that get messaged to me, but like quicker questions.
Gotcha.
I'd say rapid fire, like you don't have to answer in like 10 seconds. Like that's just the name that we came up with and it's stuck. And people
Gotcha.
love it. That's like where everyone kind of skips to and watches for the most part. So
Gotcha. Cool.
we'll use this. Let's see my first question for today. Let's look at a fan question. So we have, if you were to get drafted this year, do you have a preference or a favorite team that you would want to go to?
Oh, that's a good one. I always grew up a Yankees fan, so obviously, in the heart, it's the Yankees. But honestly, I'm obviously open to all organizations. They all got their little pieces that are huge about them and really important. But I am a Yankees fan at heart, so that would you know it would touch the heart for me.
All right, extra. You know, keep note of that. Keep note of that for sure. Um, all right, I got a question. Favorite off-speed pitch to throw and why?
Definitely the slider. I've thrown it since I was 10. Pretty much the same grip and everything since I was 10 too. So definitely my favorite pitch. I've always loved that pitch.
Nice. It doesn't hurt your arm at 10.
Nah, I guess not. I just learned how to throw it the right way.
Yeah, that
Um,
makes sense.
yeah.
When I was in 10, I was literally pushing curveballs so quick. All right. Oh, that makes me feel a lot better. um, let me. All right. Most matchup you're most excited for this year.
Oh, that's a good one. I'd have to say Ole Miss second weekend. Obviously going on to take the defending national champs on their home turf. It'll be a lot of fun. Be a huge series for sure. I'm sure that stadium will be rocking, especially early in the year. So should be an interesting one. Definitely Ole Miss.
Definitely agree with that. Their stadium should be going crazy.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So to add off from that, best pitcher hit up matchup you've ever had, or like favorite hitter to face? Doesn't have to be in college. It could be anything really.
Um, oh, that's a really good one. Um, oh man, if we're going, I'll give an all time and I'll give a college.
All right.
All time, I'm gonna go with Austin Hendrick, of the Cincinnati Reds organization, I believe now.
So
Um,
yeah, he got traded recently or picked up in.
yeah, well, he's a good hitter. I faced him a lot as I went through the 18 year USA circuit. Really, really good hitter. We had some good battles, a lot of 3-2 counts coming down to the wire. So, he's a really cool hitter to face. College, I'm actually gonna go with a guy on my own team. I'm gonna go Matt Shaw, our shortstop here. He's just a really interesting hitter. Has a really interesting approach that's different from a lot of guys and pretty cool hitter to face. Smacks fastballs silly too, so you got to be really precise with your fastballs and be good with your off speed movement as well. So he's a potential first rounder this year and really interesting matchup, especially in practice when you face him so often.
Hmm. So now, all right. So this is gonna come into play with I guess with my question here. If you were to pick a series at home that I should come for the college baseball experience, recommend me a series and I'll get it done.
April 7th through 9th, Rutgers at home.
Dude, I was looking at that. My boy Max Martin is Rutgers I think he's gonna be their starting shortstop. I can't say that for sure. I don't know.
Oh,
I haven't talked to him in a couple months, but
yeah.
that'll be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be a special one for me. My friend who I played high school baseball with, Jake Marshall, he was a pitcher at Lemoyne, Division II college in New York, and he transferred to Rutgers this year, and he's shaping up to be the Friday starter. So we could go toe to toe on Friday night potentially, which would be unbelievable. Go mano a mano. He's a guy that when I'm home, I train with him all the time. Work
Okay.
out, grow, and stuff like that. So we're pretty close. It'll be a cool one.
So I guess yeah. So I'm gonna be at that Friday game then. I'll make
Sounds
sure
good.
I'll be there. Guess I'll leave school a little early for that one. That's fine. Eric, if you're watching this, I'm gonna need that ride. We're going to College Park. Um, that's gonna be sick. Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. Now, let me think. All right, yeah. Here's a fan question. How easy? Fan question, but like it was directed at me, but like I don't know the answer, so I'm gonna ask you. How easy would it be to get on the field, like, to get on the field and throw with you guys, like you do a long toss pregame and film that?
Um,
Possible.
I don't know. That is a good question. I've never thought about that. Never heard of anybody doing that either. So I don't know. I'm sure if there was some clearance from the coaching staff, I think game day that'd probably be a little tricky. In terms of like when I'm pitching myself.
Oh no, not when you're pitching.
But
No,
but
I'm
if
not.
it
I'm not long tossing with you before you start. I need you to shove.
but on a different game day, no, I think it would possibly, be possible
Okay.
if say I pitch on a Friday and go out there on a Saturday or Sunday and wanted to do a little something pregame, definitely could. So,
I think. All right, so I think I'll be there Friday, Saturday, April 7th and 8th.
yeah.
You know what? I'm feeling. I'll be giving two people tickets to both of those games. If you guys want to come, comment on this video and DM me on Instagram. So I'll be taking two people out with me to that game, as well as my coach will be there, and my friend Eric will be there. He'll be filming everything, and he'll be driving. So that's perfect. That actually works out well. I gotta tell Max he's gonna be hyped to have me out
Cool.
there for sure. A
Very
little
cool.
friendly fire. I don't know who I might have to. I don't know who to root for. Oh, that's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
That's gonna be tough, but it's gonna happen. So
Yep.
yeah, that was a great episode. I mean, everyone go. I'll link Jake's Instagram and in the description. Go. Be sure to check that out. Be sure to check out all the games. I think they're all on Big Ten Network,
Yep.
ESPN Plus,
Yeah,
or
we'll kind of range in non-conference play. We'll mostly be on ESPN, ESPN Plus, and then conference play will be on Big Ten Network, Big Ten Network Plus. So yeah.
yeah. Be sure to check that out. Big Ten Network. If you guys want to sponsor me, I'm going to like every single one of your schools this year, except for Ohio State, probably. So you guys should sponsor me because I'm gonna be watching every one of your games and I'm gonna be posting on it. So let's get that in the works. I'll DM you guys. Any last words? Any advice? Anything?
No, I just want to thank you for having me come on. It was a pleasure to do the podcast. I'm a big fan of podcasts myself, so it's pretty cool to be on one. So
First one?
yeah, first one. Yeah,
All
locked
right.
up the first one. There you go.
When you're in the bigs, don't forget about it.
I'll come
You're
back
on the
on.
Yankees. I'm gonna be at a bunch of the games, so
Cool. Very
so
cool.
that'll work out. I'll try and get Brian Sabian's attention. Do have I'm not going to talk about it, but I do have a way to get his attention. So we'll
Very
see.
cool.
Harrison Bader's seen my Instagram story. I could put it that way.
Yeah, there you
He
go.
hasn't seen. I bet you 95% of you guys haven't had that happen to you guys. All right. And that's how we're ending this episode today. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, follow, just follow everything. It's all in the description. Leave a comment for those tickets. I will be taking two guys. You guys will be with me. If I can get on the field, I'll try and get everyone on the field. If not, you guys will have great tickets to a very good series. So, yeah, that's all I can really say. And that's it. See you guys this will be out Monday or Tuesday. So see you guys Friday next week. Thank you.